Thanks. So Anya, can you hear me?
Yes. Okay.
It sounds like currently you can still request a recording from the town if needed. And they're working on training Patty to be able to just upload to YouTube, but it might take a minute.
Okay, yeah, I sent 2 emails to Ariel but didn't hear back, so that's why I'm asking here.
Noted.
So yeah, I don't care like where they're posted or how they're sent to me. I'm just asking for specific recordings, but I didn't hear back, so that's why I'm bringing it up.
All right, heard, thank you.
Thanks.
So Kim, we're to presentation of bills and treasurer's report, but for the bills, we thought maybe we would postpone and schedule a review before the next meeting, unless you have anything urgent.
For the review of the bills.
Yeah.
For next, I mean, 2 weeks from now?
October 10th,
Oh, that's, yeah,
is
no,
that good?
no, we got the backup water
All right,
bill and
okay,
various.
let's go.
The Baca water bills from what?
And good morning.
When's the Baca water bill from?
Where is it from?
When, what's, was it due, when was it from, or when was it due?
Well, look, how about we go in order?
Sure.
Okay, first we have Virginia West, bill. I don't know if you would like me to pass these around or just give you the highlights. So Virginia West had 5 more hours, so $250. She put it in 919, so we got it.
How does that apply to the agreement we made with her?
I think she had 8 hours, and I was surprised it was so few used up, so I guess there's a few left over.
Okay.
I can check in with her.
You can hand stuff out in insurance.
Then there's Crestone Eagle. So just classified as print ads, 120. Sets bill, it's $37.50. And Bird Hill Greenleaf,
So that's more than we've agreed to.
are you asking me? I'm not 100% confident on
That's
the
more than
amount
we've
that
agreed
we
to.
had.
I don't know.
Was it $2,500?
It's 2,500.
I thought, yeah, I thought it looked a little high. I didn't, compare it to anything. So if you would like to hand it back to me, I can go and look at what we've been paying and. I mean, I think we've been, this is, you know, a month by month thing, so.
I think he's been earning his money and doing a good job for us, but that's not what we agreed to, so.
Walk the water.
What's the deal, what's this? Berg Hill?
That's our water attorney. Water attorney?
Oh, that
No.
diligence application?
Oh, water attorney. A bill for Jones Oil. Giving us fuel for right now.
199.
Is that a split?
I didn't look at it.
How much was Baca?
4,400.
I think.
Sheriff went down 490. Buildings 85.
And then there's a Pinnacle bill, it's actually on auto pay on the credit card, but if it's 1,000 a month, that's the,
Workman's comp.
workman's comp, thank you. And I've actually had a call from the insurance representative to like discuss that, which I will just get back to him and see what he has to say. And probably he wants more information about who's employed and hours and that sort of thing. I guess.
Did we have court
There was no point, there were no tickets.
and we pay the judge whether we have court or not? So that's the judge. And it looks like in our 2024 supplemental, we've got 20,000 under workman's comp, and this is 1,000, so that seems reasonable. That
Vacaville was brought us.
You were the 31st.
billing date 8/31, so yeah.
Thank you.
So I have also that UNCC check, and I'll bring all the checks back at some point, so someone can sign checks. So I have all of these queued up already in for folks to pay today.
What's the UNCC?
So the UNCC, Dennis found out, he talked to a representative there.
That's the 811.
Yeah. Oh, we did. And so approved that, all of the payments that had been, we've been waiting on until we found out. Did you wanna say anything about that?
No, other than we got it straightened out, and it's okay to pay that bill.
Okay.
Unless someone else wants the history of what happened.
So yeah, I have that check ready. Like I said, I'll bring them all back at the same time. Another thing I have, wanted to take a look. So it is the dark sky issue is resolved. That is the money that had been for the pins and such went to the Crestdown Foundation, and the rest, and then I paid us $250, had a little back and forth with Wendy Mays of the county, who knows about this stuff. And so that was the 250 is the admin fee. So I redid the the report and such, but so we're giving back whatever I think it's two. Numbers, it's 2,700 we're giving back to the county for not having the grant signed.
Treasurer's report?
So there's gonna be discussion of the auditor's letter in the executive committee.
No, just under new business,
Okay,
but we could talk about that while you're here. If you want to be a part of that conversation and not wait around.
sure.
All right, let's talk. Did everybody read that?
Yep, I did.
Did you find anything that seems unreasonable?
No,
Can we have a motion to accept or enter into that agreement?
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second the motion.
discussion? All in favor?
All right,
Aye.
Right?
So
I already signed that, so it can be returned and we can start that process.
I have it not returned. There's a little back and forth, like he's gonna return it on, letterhead. On that. So let's see, QuickBooks time, I mentioned in one of my think I mentioned in my, evaluation narrative that I'm gonna do QuickBooks time instead of Clockify, which we can also discuss. But I think it's a free app that comes with QuickBooks Online to track time, to track time, to like clock.
For hours?
Yeah, so it's, I don't, you know, we could talk about it more broadly. It's been topic with staff. Dennis suggested that we use some sort of an app to clock in and clock out. And so,
Has that started?
yeah,
Is the QuickBooks one, is it only like one person would use it, like only you would use it to clock in and out?
I did look at it briefly last night. It looks like we could add everybody. And I don't know like what the administrative burden would be, but it probably would make things easier. You know, would people still do timesheets or would they just switch to this format and how that would look? I mean, having, you know, work. Like I said, I use it, I've been using it for years on, for my other employer. So she got us started on this, and it's just this little thing, it's like, yeah, it's just this little time clock, and you can write notes, probably, but there's some setup required. And I can do that. No, would not be the highest thing on my priority list right now, because I got a lot coming towards me, with the budget and the audit and.
Did we approve the Clockify for a monthly based on number of employees or
Yeah, we're currently paying $12.99 a month.
per employee?
If we added more employees, then you would have to pay.
And is everybody else using that?
I've had the office aide using it, public works assistant's been using it, I've been using it. But
Not Brent?
I'm trying to get people time to get used to clocking in. I think it's not gonna be immediate, like everyone's gonna remember to do it, so. But they could practice on this until you utilize QuickBooks time.
Who's taking everybody's hours and inputting it? You? So you using a different system is only impacting your data entry?
You mean if I use Clockify? Or,
If you're using QuickBooks and everybody else is using Clockify, you're the only one that has to deal with that? Taking the data and putting it in the payroll?
right, I'm not,
You're not adding to
I'm not.
Ariel's workload
I am
by
not,
using QuickBooks?
plugged into the Clockify thing. So far, like I know nothing about other people's Clockify.
So my question is, if you're using a different system to track your time, are you adding to Ariel's workload?
I would not, she has no connection to QuickBooks.
Okay.
Why are you not doing the clock type? I mean, that was approved by the board. We've already got 3 or 4 people doing that. Why are you singling yourself out and not doing it?
Well, my understanding was that it was not necessarily geared towards me. First of all, that was my original understanding, maybe that's wrong or has evolved. It is primarily an app on the phone, is that right?
I think it's also accessible through computer.
So, yeah, no.
Why did you think it didn't apply to you? I don't understand.
I have been tracking my time all along the same way. And I don't know what it adds to the way I do it.
It adds to the level of our oversight over what the employees are doing when they're clocking in and clocking out. And let me just say, it doesn't eliminate the need for, let's call it a journal on activity for the month or for the pay period on employees, so they should still be doing that. But, I guess that's my answer.
Okay, can I ask, answer more completely. Also, in my experience with this QuickBooks time clock, you can very often, not often, but when you do like forget, it's like you have to go back and like, oh, wait a minute, you know, it's kind of some messing around with time in that way. I just felt like it's just another thing to do.
That's right.
And it's something that I was afraid I would not do very accurately, and that it would interfere with my other time sheet, which I try and, you know, be accurate on in terms of time too. And I mean, I track what I'm doing, not, you know, not every single thing, but like, under general headings, I track it, fairly specifically. And also, I'm not sure it was, there was like, okay, let's make it so, like,
There
you know,
was a
everybody-
motion made, I guess, and the board approved to implement Clockify for the staff. Kids,
And there was some,
hold on, kids.
So my feeling would be is if this is something that the staff is recommending, Ariel and Kim feels like this is a system that would be beneficial, that would make it easier for the staff and the treasurer to accurately track hours, then I don't feel like I need to get involved in the minutia of it. If we're already paying for this service and it's going to simplify and make it easier and more accurate, then I would say implement it when you have the time, you know, when to do so.
I will start doing mine immediately, since it seems like it's a priority,
Your what?
my time on QuickBooks time. I don't think it'll be too hard to set up.
I haven't heard a good reason why you can't follow what everyone else is doing with this, Clockify.
Okay. I'll do Clockify.
Thank you.
I do wonder why, like, when there's obviously a back and forth or feedback, I feel necessary on this, why that wasn't part of your discussion.
There,
The
we
board
did have a
discussion.
discussion. We
amongst
gave
yourself.
staff the opportunity to discuss it between themselves, and the recommendation came back to Spotify or Clockify. And we went with that. I don't understand why you want to separate yourself from that.
I feel like you're projecting on me right now, something that's not accurate.
I'm asking a question. Why
I
do you need
wasn't trying to do that. I was not wanting an app on my phone. I don't feel comfortable with the GPS tracking aspect of it. And so then it became another question of, okay, so if this is not, if I can use this on my workstation here and my workstation at home, which I've been using quite a lot lately because that has 2 monitors, which I need more and more, with QuickBooks Online. That became what it was about. And I think there was also some, I don't know, I felt like there was some, I don't know, a discussion that I can't remember. I can't, like, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
But the QuickBooks time, like we already paid for QuickBooks, and we could theoretically put everybody on it.
Yes, that's what I saw.
And
And
then
then we
how,
wouldn't have to pay for Clockify anymore.
but how will Brent clock into QuickBooks?
I think it also has an app-based feature, and I don't know if that includes the GPS tracking. I haven't looked into it deeply.
Could you look into it and then bring it back? And if we don't have to pay for Clockify anymore, then we could maybe consider transitioning to something we're already paying for.
Sure. And do you have to, can you disable the GPS on the Clockify?
I have no idea. I don't know about that, if it has it at all, on that app.
So in the past, the board made a motion to implement Clockify for the staff. So that would apply to all employees. So I think that y'all should follow through with that. And then if a better solution can be presented, then we would go from there.
Is that workable, Kim?
Yeah, and I would just like to say at the last staff meeting on Monday, we also discussed it and basically agreed that I would do QuickBooks Time. Just putting that out there.
I don't remember us talking about you using QuickBooks Time separately, but I do remember us talking about eventually utilizing
No, we agreed
this as a time.
that I was.
But the board, the supervisors implemented the Clockify.
Okay, but I'm just pointing that out, that that was a discussion we had, and there was Brent, there was Ariel, there was Patty, there was me in the room.
All right,
And since we're on this kind of topic, maybe we can settle, or maybe we don't wanna settle it now about, payroll. Another board, vote, well, it's encompassed in the, employee manual. Another thing was the payroll schedule. You changed the payroll schedule in the new, manual, and that was because my understanding is that Elaine likes that, wanted that kind of schedule. It's in the manual, and yeah, I'm another one who, well, yes, and the only one who it immediately impacts, that is under one of those payroll.
what was it changed to?
It's, I believe it's the fifth, the first and the 15th from this schedule. And, so I guess what I'm asking is that we wait to implement that. I have waited to implement that. It, you know, whenever the manual was approved, there was a lot going on, kind of like this issue with the Clockify. I mean, it's like one more thing. And I have been severely overburdened by, you know, just day to day.
So what's the current or the previous
So
payroll
it's,
schedule?
yeah, it's every other Wednesday. That's what it works out to. It's every other Wednesday.
And so you would like to have it not be a specific date, but have it be,
I'm happy with the way it is, you know, I mean, it was like, you know, it's not my system, it's what was in place when I came in. And it's just what it is on the calendar, it's been the same all the time. It's every other, Wednesday, and that's the regular payroll, and then the trustees payroll is like, I try and do it like at the beginning, towards the beginning of the month, but it's somewhat variable, like I just lump it in, you know, it happens with.
so I'd be looking for a motion to allow Kim to keep the payroll as is until January 2025, the payroll schedule.
I would make that motion.
I would second it.
Discussion,
Is that what you want? Is that what you're asking for, Kim?
That would be, the first thing, and then I guess I would say a review, like some sort of like, okay, let's weigh the bid, are there pros and cons? What are the pros and cons? Understand that better before, you know, like, and it may be that, okay, this makes sense. And I'm not, you know, I just, yeah, it was just like this thing that happened, and I'm trying to take us to QuickBooks Online, and, you know, all this is happening at the same time, and it's arbitrary. That's what comes to mind, just an arbitrary change.
So I think that discussion would be valuable, because for a work week planning, where you can say, okay, Wednesdays are when I do this, rather than it's gonna be Monday or it's gonna be Friday. I would like to have that discussion, or to see if the 1st and the 15th is, you know, more industry standard, and you schedule your work week according to what that date falls on. So I think having it continue until we get to that point, and then have that discussion on how how it's gonna be effective, it would be a good discussion to have. I think for vendors, people who are getting paid, there's a lot to be said that checks are cut loose on the 15th of every month. It's a real clear date, but we can discuss how that would work, pros and cons later on.
Dennis?
Yeah, I'm all for the discussion, but I just want to point out that personnel manual just didn't happen overnight. It was out there for months in draft. And, I don't know about the other members of the board, but I know I encouraged any staff member, if they had any input in the manual to come forward. And as I recall, no one did, at least not in writing. So,
So, all in favor?
I,
Aye. Opposed? Okay, and then we'll need to put on the, some agenda to have that discussion. Or it could happen in the finance committee. But we'll kind of be looking to you to bring that back up.
Okay. Good. I have a computer and monitors in a box, and I'm asking for help setting those up. You know, I don't have an opinion on who necessarily, I just want somebody to help with that. And there's other IT aspects to that, so I'll just blow into my next point. I also need Adobe Acrobat. I believe we've been paying for the all bells and whistles version, and I don't have it on my machine currently. And you know, it's like, okay, there's this machine, I'm gonna go to the machine, I don't need to add it. It's become a real hassle. Like every time I go to print, I get a ding, ding, ding on the printer. I have to go over to it, reset it to the blah, blah, blah. So this description has been my life with technology here. I mean, there's been just like so many obstacles like that. And so you know, there's a myriad reasons for that. It's not one thing, it's a lot of different things.
and the clerk has, when they do their report, has a request for IT services, so maybe we'll address that.
And until then, I mean, I have been using my workstation at home, which belongs to Groundwork Accounting Company. Dana Ryder, our person who's been helping me transition QuickBooks, which is mostly done, but like, just to mention that there's payroll related reports. This is one of the reasons I was really wanting Dana to help, because she's so experienced with this kind of thing. Since there was no one here in the fall last year to do anything like payroll reports, there's payroll reports due to the unemployment department from last year. And though I have done my reports subsequently to them and done the payments, it's interesting, like I've made a point with accounting that it's a linear process. You have to build on the data from the past. And this is a case in point. That's what they're making us do. So we have to go back and figure that out. I'm thinking of enlisting Patty, because we have to, is this really, it's unemployment, and so it's this really labor intensive kind of thing, but it won't be a big deal. But it's just, I'm just bringing it up as a case in point. So about the IT assistance, we need a good password management program, and we need a cybersecurity system. And I think we should find someone, and they do not have to be in this town. I think ideally not in this town, an IT person, cyber person to help us get good at that and outsource it to somebody. I don't know much about this, but I can say Groundwork Accounting Company does that thing. She has an IT guy, and like, make sure all the updates get done remotely and all that sort of thing. I think that would be
Updates to security.
security, computer updates. Like, I don't do anything in my computer. It does its thing. I mean, like, you know, you restart and yada yada. I don't have to do that to my computer at home. But you know, that like I read about passwords versus passkeys, passkeys versus passwords, like that we're going towards passkey. I don't know anything about that. Like, it's not my forte to keep up on the technology in that regard.
As far as the Adobe Acrobat thing goes, we have it, you just need to download it and be able to log into it on your computer.
And that's all it takes. But I've tried before to like get into it. Maybe there's just like a password that I need to download the super duper version of the PDF editor and stuff like that. Okay.
So. We're gonna advertise for IT support, and it may or may not be a local person or business, and I'm sure Ariel and Brent would benefit from IT assistance as well.
There you go. Put the proposal for IT services
mhm,
in the packet.
mhm. And does that include security? Okay, all right, so we'll move on that, hopefully. And then, did you have any other immediate asks and all the things you just mentioned?
I think it would be appropriate for me to ask for some compensation for using my computer at home, similar to my cell phone. And by the way, I decided not to take the cell phone stipend last month or whatever, since I declined the idea of, like, I made this decision not to use the Clockify app, the GPS tracking thing, just, you know, whatever, it's my phone, I'm sensitive about my phone.
So, we were looking at the IT person is, could be somebody who is out of town for, when you're dealing with password security and locations are important. But she said she needs somebody to help her set up her new computer. And that should be somebody local who has that ability to have set up a new computer.
And I do have somebody in mind who's like not associated, like lives in the Baca, is super, you know, with kid on stuff like that, that I was thinking about asking, but hadn't yet. I don't know if that would be,
So it seems we're looking at two issues here. One is the long-term IT support. And then the other is sometimes you need somebody local to set up your computer and then 2 days later come back and say, this isn't working, what's going on? Or the printer, you know, how to connect with that, and it's a hands-on and be able to show up and say, oh, you're missing this step or whatever. I'm totally sympathetic with you, because the technology keeps changing and changing, and always need, I was in here picking, a yellow screen, and, so I think that two things, a lot overarching, tech support who can deal with security passwords and all that. But also be able to have somebody who can come in and help set up the computer and the picture and, you know, drive in from the box or
You
wherever.
need to advertise for it though?
I don't know if that's something we need to put out to bid. We're looking at something that will be a smaller amount of time. It's just a matter of setting up a computer. If that looks like that person might become an on-call kind of a thing, then we can look at a larger amount of money and put it out for a bid. Because there are a lot of techies in town. But right now, she needs to get set up with her computer.
So you're asking for approval to get somebody local to come in and set up the dual monitor system and connect it to the printer?
I think that's what I'm asking for, yeah, I think so.
I think,
I think I mentioned it to Mateo once, hey, you know. Yeah, I think he could be paid to do that too, he's super, you know, good with technology. He didn't express a lot of interest, so maybe we want to come and change. But yes, I guess I will do that, I will follow up and ask the person that I was talking about.
so we've asked the staff to present proposals with numbers whenever you guys are making requests. So I don't know how much that'll cost, and I don't, maybe we can approve up to a certain amount. Which I thought would be like 250 or less, but
To set up the computer and whatnot, yeah, I think that seems reasonable, and then maybe you can take that number to this person. And if they're willing to do it for that, then we can roll with it.
Okay,
so you wanna make that motion? I don't even know if we need a motion, but might as well.
I'd make a motion to approve up to $250 for Kim to get someone to help her set up her computer.
Okay, and hold on. Ariel, would you wanna utilize that person for anything else in the office?
No, I would like, if we're still gonna
We
pursue
will,
the IT
yeah.
person, I would just like to
Alright, okay.
that person.
Need seconds,
One second.
discussion? All in favor?
Alright,
Aye.
so I overheard at the door, I wasn't tuned in yet, but was trying to get tuned in, that you are not gonna have an, I'm not clear on the executive. session.
Yeah,
You're
we're
not-
gonna wait until there's more board members here to make this bigger decisions. So we'll schedule it for the October meeting.
Okay, I would like to ask you to implement my hourly wage increase without that discussion. I provide a lot of information and narrative and justification. And I would just ask you to do that.
I think that requires, or I think that merits the rest of the board being here. And I think that was the point of people requesting to postpone.
Yeah, I agree that it should be a fuller board to have the discussion, but I think the board has the option if they should choose to do any wage increase, retroactively on certain dates, so that is an option the board does have. But I agree, we should wait until we have that discussion in the fuller board.
I got
We can do a 5-minute break, I gotta use the bathroom.
it's 8.
Yeah, that's you.
Oh, yeah.
You're not messing with them. It's, and really the purchases.
Greenhouse or open at, all version to the top. It's a great view. You should come and sit in on the greenhouse.
I don't know what your ground elevation is in comparison to ours.
Or higher for sure,
You know,
but yeah, you should come and sit on the greenhouse. We get to see, like Kit Carson and Humboldt and all the way across the valley. It's amazing. I feel ya.
Get it out of the weather, get it out of sight.
Yeah, I've got, after this, I've got to go put in a driveway over in the Baca, we're working on trying to get a garage over there.
So,
Mhm. All our junk.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Looks like you guys are on break.
We are.
Then we had a power outage. Right?
We saw we had liquor here,
Yeah, well, I went up there, my generator was running. What's going on?
Is that what I hear now?
It was started.
It kicked on though.
Yeah, it kicked out, yeah, but I got that, tells me, I got a maintenance prompt for battery. And I have to say, I got issues at home with my solar. I gotta do some things on
It
my
was a
solar.
busy day.
Yeah,
So the weather's supposed to calm down though, as we get through the week.
they did do that road, line, they did blade it, so,
Yeah, it looks really good.
and it didn't wash in the
Yeah.
rain either.
Did they put anything on there?
He didn't put anything on, he said, you didn't get a chance to put anything on, he said, just blade it.
No, they did a nice job. Yeah,
Yeah, I thought it was nice and good.
it's better than before they started.
You guys take a break because of the power, is that why?
No, I had to go to the bathroom.
Or just get back?
We gave him a bucket, but he wanted to get up when he wasn't.
Guys.
Let's see what-
Want this to go there? In the back.
Call the meeting back to order. No finance committee report, no mayor's report, so clerk's report.
Big things from my report were, the two, requests for proposals. I didn't know if you had looked those over. I think the most immediate one, or the one I have the most urgency about, is for the IT, services. I think Kim is right, we do need a better cybersecurity plan. We do need a password manager. These are things I would appreciate help with, because while I can do them, I'm not an expert in those areas by any means.
Do you want a motion for that? Motion to approve, anyone?
I make the motion to approve the. Are we gonna post it? Yes, okay, I make a
I would
motion,
post the one that I gave to you guys, that's approved.
I make a motion to approve the posting for the request for the proposal of IT services.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And anyone want to make a motion to approve the RFP for conflict resolution? Doesn't mean we have to hire somebody, but we can certainly get some proposals.
I make a motion to approve the posting of the conflict mediation services.
Any seconds?
Second.
Discussion?
Is this what we had talked about a meeting or so ago about problems with
Mhm.
the mediator?
Yeah, they first called it HR, but I don't think it's that big. All in favor?
Okay,
Aye.
Aye.
When I wrote my part about living wisdom, it was before I had received the letter that I included in the agenda, so they have responded to the stop work order, and that's under new business item, or old business, sorry, item A. So I won't speak to that. Things are going well with Patty, we've been training.
Wait, did you say you won't speak to it?
I won't speak to what I said here in the clerk's report, because I think it's more important what it said in response. You know, what I need to say about it. I issued a stop order, or the building inspector and myself issued a stop order to Living Wisdom. They received it, they signed for it certified mail. They haven't sent it back to me signed. I've notated that in their file. In the meantime, I've been trying to engage with Russell surveyors to get the survey that was requested, and they're extremely backlogged, but I do have, we did email and talked about speaking on the phone today, so I'm hoping to have better news.
I guess I didn't see the letter that they sent in response. Under new business,
It's under old business,
what page is that digitally?
digitally, give me 1 second.
45.
45.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it started
Oh.
before 45. At least on my computer, it's in a moment. They sent their survey plans and that starts on page 20. And then the letter itself,
Yeah, I see it. Did you read it, Dennis?
I did part of it. I didn't read it all.
So that'll be just as big of a conversation as employee evaluation, so having more board members here would be valuable. And or attorney review. I see Rick is here. I didn't know if he wanted to say something or is just watching. Okay. But it looks like they're indicating.
Yeah, sorry, Adam. I'm just observing. I'm just back from a couple weeks out of town late last night, but I know of the meeting and I'm observing.
Okay.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah. But it looks like they're indicating that they're in compliance. And you said they did sign receipt of the stop work?
they didn't sign my document that we gave to them, but we sent it certified mail and that they signed for that, they have received it.
All right, so. I'm assuming that's been passed on to the attorney? Does anybody want to say anything about that before we move on? Okay. So then what was next in the clerk's report?
Public works staffing in the minutes, Andrew Martinez was hired for a period of 3 months to work 60 hours per week. We're coming to the end of that in October, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention in case you'd like to extend his time with us. Other big things, I will be attending a training Thursday for municipal court. And also I will be attending a training this week about the highway users tax fund. That's something that's approaching. And it seems that Allison or the clerk took care of that in the past, so I expect to take care of that as well. And then we also were approved for a .gov domain, so I'm gonna work on switching our website over to .gov, and I'd also like to work on switching all of our emails, trustees included, to be .gov, just to be more official.
Okay.
And that's all for me.
On the office aide, we increased her hours by 8 hours.
Yes.
Is that been enough?
I think it's been working so far. She seems happy with the extra 2 hours a day. And she's been able to help both of us, so.
Mhm. Okay, and then with the public works staffing, I think Warren's probably right, we didn't necessarily hire him in the correct way. I also think Eddie's doing great and could probably handle it, but I don't know if people wanna continue Andrew's hours, then we might need to look at how to make that, the correct process.
You know, we're out of the event season now, things are slowing down,
Mhm.
public works wise. I do know that they've got, I talked to Eddie this morning, And we'll mention it at Public Works, they got a need for some hydraulic equipment that has to be, they didn't expect to go out, and some more road based, but, I think you probably handle that.
What about plowing?
Well, we're gonna talk, we're trying to schedule a Public Works, did you get a chance to read my email?
I read through part of it.
Yeah, we're gonna schedule a Public Works meeting here, pretty quick. And we're gonna talk about scheduling snow plowing and what to anticipate and how it's gonna get done. We just haven't had an opportunity to do that just yet.
Yeah, I just have a question in that it says that was hired for a 3-month period, working up to 60 hours per week. Is that a typo?
Yeah, it should be per month.
Okay,
And maybe we wanna consider. I'm not sure what our temporary workers. Status is, and if we need to advertise for that, but maybe if we advertise for a temporary worker. We could end up hiring Andrew to help Eddie with snow plowing. In the event that 1 week Eddie needs some help with something.
yeah. Seems reasonable. I would like to see us continue with Andrew, at least for a while here.
When does the 3-month period end?
In October.
Okay,
Well, maybe we should post for temporary. Public Works Assistant.
So this would be, besides Eddie, also having Andrew and yet, and a third person?
No, Andrew would have to apply for the temporary Public Works Assistant.
And why would that be, since he's been joining our line?
He's saying that we hired him incorrectly because we never advertised for any position or contractor, and then all of a sudden we just hired Andrew to work 15 hours a week, which probably has not surpassed the $5,000 mark. Likely hasn't actually, so maybe we're not out of compliance,
yeah,
but just to do it right, we could,
So
Go
this
ahead.
is to go with the procedure, Joe?
yeah.
Okay,
Right, procedurally not correct, and you hired him as an employee,
Right,
so the $5,000.
yeah, okay, I agree. So yeah, I think, that we could post and advertise for a temporary Public Works Assistant. And then if somebody else wants to apply, great, and Andrew could, fill out an application. And then we could probably use them.
My comment on that would be, if we're applying for a Public Works Assistant, or advertise for that, that would be at a much lower rate than what Andrew is getting right now.
what is Andrew's current rate?
I think it's $22 or $25 an hour. It's up there pretty good.
also, if we, in the posting. Would we be looking for someone to do, like what Andrew's doing right now, or would it be more like on an as-need basis?
I would say as need.
Could we, go ahead and proceed with the posting of that, but give the Public Works Committee an opportunity to get together and meet? We're not gonna spend, I'm not looking to like November, I'm real quick here, we're gonna have to get something going. Because snow removal, along with the county contract right now is gonna be part of that discussion.
So, I think if we're posting this, that, we can have a wage range based upon experience. Cause there's a big difference between hire somebody who's gonna shovel snow and somebody who has the knowledge to maintain equipment. And I think that the wages should be based upon knowledge and experience. Because $24 an hour in today's market is not a very strong wage. And, I know from my own experience trying to find somebody, I had to pay $25 an hour to get somebody to come and weed whack my yard. You know, so I think we need to be realistic about the skill levels. And so I think when we post this, that we have a range of wages. And that that's gonna be based upon the applicant and the skills we're looking for.
Let's call it a temporary public works employee versus
Yeah.
assistant, and it would be wage depending on experience.
And
And then
then
it's
for,
definitely part-time.
yeah,
And you guys will do a public works session and hopefully bring back some sort of winter
Yeah,
proposal to
we
the
should.
town.
Right,
That was it on the clerk's report? We did the letter of engagement. So then this LPC grant, can you educate us on that?
Yes, right now, the San Luis Valley Council of Governments is looking to enter into this grant, and they want to have the municipalities in the valley work together on it to share resources and share essentially the burden of the work, since everyone is small and fairly understaffed. What they're asking for is for, if the town wants to participate, they wrote a letter of support that they put my name on. I didn't write that, but that's what we could use for them.
Okay.
And as well, a resolution for us to pass saying that we would be a part of this, but they are also at this time asking for a $7,300 match from town. They're not expecting payment now, but that's what they would be expecting us to contribute to this at some point. So there's a financial component that needs to be considered as well.
Okay, and in their letter, when they list towns that will receive the benefits, Crestone isn't in there, so would we be paying 7,300 with the understanding that no project is focusing in Crestone?
No, those are just the towns that have signed on so far. So far, I believe it's like Lahara and Lucia. Thanks to Watch might have been on there.
Do you know when we would have to pay by?
I don't have a time frame on the date, and they said that it could possibly be lower if they get funding
From more people.
from banks and more people. They're just looking for us to show that letter of support, and really they want that letter of support like today.
So, I think it would be great to be able to support a region-wide need for affordable housing. But I don't see spending $7,000 if we're not really part of the community that's being considered. I am wondering if to be able to join this, we'd like to be able to support it, we'd like to be able to join this. If we could be able to get some sort of a grant, whether it's a Swatch County sales tax grant, to allow us to be able to do that match. We just don't have the budget for that. I mean, if they were looking to say, okay, we're gonna build this in the town of Crestone, we could contribute maybe in any number of different ways. Road work, water and sewer, surveying, something or another, as an in-kind donation, but, I would be really hesitant to put out $7,000.
I mean, it does say Saguache County, which would include us to some extent, but you know, it's a huge county, so. To what extent seems really unclear. Yeah,
And that would be something I think to find out, because though we're our own independent municipality. So are we under the umbrella of Saguache County? Or not?
yeah,
I think, go ahead.
I was gonna say, whatever information's collected, I don't think they would keep it from anyone, would they?
Didn't see nothing. I think if I could make all the decisions, I would say send a letter of support and that we would get the money either from our sales tax, which may or may not have a little bit of room to play. Or that we even, because it's such an important issue, deplete our reserves by no more than $7,000 over the course of the next year. But I'm not in charge and there's only 4 of us here, so.
Right. I don't get a lot of support, but I don't want to spend any cash right now.
Did they say when they would need the match?
No, but I could find that out.
And they need this by the 30th? Is that right?
They told me today,
Today?
they called on Thursday and said they would like to have it now.
It is fish narrow.
But they're also waiting for as many letters of support as they can get, so. We could talk about this in October with more information, and if we miss the boat, then we miss the boat.
Well, I would like to see us get some information to see whether or not the town of, I mean, so if the town is included with the Saluda County sign, and we're coming in under their umbrella. I'd like to know that. And if not, would the Saluda County be willing to help the town with an offsetting grant match?
Yeah.
And,
And it
that to me
seems,
would make a big difference to know. And, I do feel like it's important, and we do have property here in Townsville, multi-family housing. We really need to have affordable housing here. So I think also too, as you say, talking about budget and seeing where we are.
it does say highlights, highlights specific properties available in collaborating communities. And so I totally agree that we should find out if Crestone is under Saguache County. And I also think that by participating, we would be more likely to be included.
Mhm. And is it within your capacity to reach out to the charter school to see if they would be willing to contribute?
Sure.
Cause I think teacher housing, family housing, it supports them as well.
And if this place could get this, potentially,
Yeah.
it's got lots of housing in it.
And we, like I say, the town does own, 6 lots of multi-family housing. And we own that, and in the past, when we were looking at the other housing project that did not happen, they the so much housing district, whatever, they purchased the land that bought, whatever it was up there. This, maybe the $7,000 could be coming off of a purchase price on the land that the town owns.
Yeah.
So, something to consider as well.
So what are the things we want Ariel I think that we want to respond to them saying that we desire to, to support this project, and we just need, these pieces of information. And they asked for it today, but we don't have a full board today, and we would like to discuss it with our full board in the October meeting.
Mhm. Sounds great.
Maybe during that time, you will see some good to the job.
That could be cool. Should we post it out somewhere and for citizens?
PSA?
Yeah, do a PSA for citizens input.
Mhm.
I like that idea.
Me too. Does that sound good?
That sounds great.
I think we're down to Sursa renewal quote.
All right, so we're gonna move the living wisdom discussion to the next meeting as well.
Yeah. Did you review the quote? How does it look to you?
It looks pretty on par with what we've been doing in the past. It's gone up a little bit, but not hugely, and I don't think that's surprising.
And, I see the total before credits is 8,800. Are there credits? $13, I guess. So the total
What page you on there?
56 digitally.
Yeah, there are credits available for training and the like, because you guys did that SOSA training with elected officials, there's credits for that. And then there was also credits for, our rating when they came and did their. I can't think of the word, SOSA came and did their inspection of all of our properties.
And it looks like in the supplemental, we did 10,000. So if it's 8,800, sounds good to me.
This is like our insurance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which maybe we save 1,200.
That'd be cool.
All right, do you need a motion to approve it?
I don't know if it hurts,
Any motions to approve? The renewal quote?
Make a motion to approve the renewal quote from Simpson.
Any seconds?
A second.
Discussion? All in favor? Mm. The Right Here app for vision impaired accessibility.
that was a request from one of our citizens here, who's vision impaired. We looked into it further and got a quote for it, as directed by the board. Just wanted to put that quote in front of you. Sarah worked on this a little bit too, and I know it's
Is that,
fairly expensive, but
that's the 1,500 for the basic plan?
yeah.
And is that, I'm trying to
That
think.
includes 5 beacons, that we could post in various areas. They would support us full time during the year.
What's a beacon?
I'll look at that for the next budget year, maybe have some more discussion on it.
Beacon would be the device that people could connect to so that it would tell them where they are and what's going on, essentially.
Okay.
So she proposed 5 beacons to put on the different buildings around town, like specifically town buildings. I don't know if the citizen wanted it all around town, but we could only be responsible for our areas.
I like the idea of trying to implement it, and I think it makes sense to do it in 2025. How do we remember to discuss that in the budget? Write it on a piece of paper and put it in my pocket.
We want to shoot you a text.
And so many-
Might as well go in my pocket.
It does go in your pocket.
I could print you a copy of this or have it the.
I think I'll write it real big right here.
I need some refreshing information on that as well.
We're gonna go,
Yeah, and
For sure, I did a
Right.
little document that explains it more in detail, that should help out, but it's really just about accessibility and real-time audio.
for 2025,
Yeah, we're having one tomorrow.
workshop.
for 2025, all right, awesome. Can you please send her a letter saying we're gonna put that in our. That we're gonna work on for our 2025 budget? Okay. Paving, parking areas, Dennis?
And it started, after probably one of the first spring storms that were, I think, the water flow was worse. We had, if you recall, we had a lot of erosion in the parking areas.
Mhm.
And, of course, Public Works did the best to get things straightened out. Some of the roads are still, damaged from that first storm. So I started talking to some of the people around town, including right up to today, on what their thoughts were, not mostly, all of them were businesses. I talked to the grocery store, the young man that runs the grocery store. I talked to the restaurant here. I talked to, Scott Swarty, I believe his name is. I talked to Lonnie. And I talked with our public works department, and everyone agreed that, something needs to be done. Some people have different reasons, but everyone that I talked to seemed to have, the one thing they did have in common was the drainage in the area that eroded the parking area and caused them problems. So, thinking that it was going to be a simple deal, it's kind of exploded a little bit into something more. And it goes back to the drainage situation. And everyone is getting water coming from a different direction. So I guess my original thought was just to let you know that this was being talked about. But as I just said, it's gotten a little bit bigger. There's gonna be a little bit more research in what we can and can't do with the drainage. And maybe even get some assistance from an outside source to help us finance it. So it's in the works and it's still a ways away. I don't know if you have any questions about it.
So, couple of things. One is, you know, we were doing phase 1, phase 2 downtown development. Phase 3 actually had a lot to do with channeling the water, you know, like over towards Lime Street and we had even set aside a part of Lime Street to be like settling ponds for water. Also, part of the design was supposed to include, and I don't think it really did so very effectively, was to be able to capture water runoff rather than just take the water that's coming down and just send it out as quickly as possible. Was part of the design was as water's coming down the hill to basically able to catch and settle. An example of that is how the post office drains down to a row of trees that captures the water. And water is incredible, you know, valuable commodity. It also recharges our shallow aquifer here. And so one of the reasons when Bert Wadman was doing areas in town using those little concrete squares rather than paving, part of that was the idea that it would allow that water to infiltrate down rather than just run off. So we saw that put in various places. The problem with that is this stuff started, you know, freeze thaw, it's crumbling. But I think part of our concept really needs to include how can we capture water? We're talking about all the water we have to spend on the trees or our planter beds. And yet when it rains, we're taking that water and we're getting rid of it as soon as possible. So I think since the picture's gotten bigger, to look and see where can we funnel water, like as an example, along Silver Street, we planted a row of aspens, between the Silver Street and the post office parking lot. And yeah, it's hard to keep those trees wet. At the same time, we're channeling water away from them. So what can be done to capture the water, as well? And I have watched a wonderful documentary just recently that talked about just exactly this with towns of being able to capture water and hold it, water their trees and things. And then, you know, when it's at a saturation level, move it down. And of course, flash floods, don't wanna endanger your property. But I think we should, in this desert climate, think about how we can capture water. So if you have an area like you look over at Lonnie's by where he's at, there is he has a whole drainage and green space where he's planted trees in that corner. And that captures water and allows trees to grow. So, I would just ask that we be mindful when we're looking about paving an area, put in a swell, like is around the circle. I was always disappointed on that, because there was things that were part of the original design that ended up not being manifested in the final design. But as an example, all the water that's coming out of that circle on Silver Street by the liquor store, if there was a small dip, channel the water over to the aspen trees. And to kind of rethink this as we're going along, so that's what I would request, capturing the water. And,
Isn't that's right where this is going? Exactly that. I was talking to some people and, watching YouTube and some of the documentaries that people are, I believe the young man's name is Millicent, maybe that's the same person you've seen on permaculture. And it's meant to, you use the word capture, that's probably a good word, but it's to, and there are other issues, as far as water rights and stuff like that that have to be looked at, but it's to hold it back, absorb it, and then, use it when we can, where we can, and also to let it, enhance or to replenish our groundwater or table at the same time.
right,
So, yeah, I've talked with, some of our, the previous engineers that have done studies in town. I looked at some of the stuff that they had put out and even started doing a few things on my own piece of property as I don't wanna say an experiment, but just seeing what I'm learning and try it. And we could do it all over town, both on public and private property.
but earlier, we were dealing with like Avis engineering and some of the preliminary plans. One of the things we were looking at, of course, is, the water goes into the creek goes into the wildlife refuge. Towns like this, we've got litter, we've got oil spills, we've got gasoline drippings, we've got a lot of pollutants. And so some of the designs had included like places where there could be gravel or dip settling bases to where the water could come in and settle and recharge the aquifer, and making sure that that water has some degree of filtration before it hits the creek and it goes onto the wildlife refuge. So all of those chemicals and pollutants are not just going right into the creek and causing
Like a
pollution.
free treatment system.
Right, and so it's just a natural treatment of saying, okay, here's how it can be done, and like I say, one of the older plans with the, Colorado. Maybe UNC college students did was, we designated a section of Line Street where the water that comes across, Alder could go, because it's so sandy, have a series of settling ponds before the water then goes down through Line behind the phone office and connects into the water. So we're looked at part of a natural settling as part of the filtration and recharging our own aquifer and helping with trees. So we probably watched some of the same YouTube
Probably.
videos and documentaries. Good.
All right, thank you. Cottonwood Ridge,
Yes, and talking about a report that was done in January. I talked with, Natasha Butler from the state of Colorado, Department of Road and Bridge, about the report. And from what she told me, and I can't remember the technical term she used, but because we're not on a major highway or a county road or a state road, our bridges are looked at and rated somewhat differently. But still, most bridges are done on a 2-year inspection. Ours has been changed to a 1-year, it's once every year inspection rating, or what they find is necessary because of this deterioration. And it's been rated down as condition to poor. We talked for quite a while on some of the things that could be done, but what it comes down to is we're at a point where, of course, the bridge is never gonna repair itself. We need to take a serious look on an approach to evaluate and get some cost estimates on what repairs need to be done and start looking towards getting those repairs done. And that's really, and of course, there's grant money available, but there's a lot of matching funds that has come up with it. And the first step would be to get some idea of what costs are and what it would cover. And just wanna let you guys know about it. I know Drew has mentioned it more than once, and I was listening to what he was saying, but never really paid attention until this spring, when we had some high water and saw some of the waterway under the bridge was, North Crestone Creek was clogged up with branches and so on and so forth. Then I started looking at the bridge itself a little bit closer, and I could see where some of that, it's gonna be necessary. So you may see that coming up in our 25 budget.
Okay. August BOD,
Oh, yeah, August BODs were down a bit from July, but not a whole great amount, and, they continue to be a problem. I don't know, Ariel, the final letters have gone out to business owners.
I believe that Brent did send them last week, and we're working on PSA now as opposed.
Okay, and I know we were gonna give them some time to respond. I think we need to look at this a little bit more seriously. And I guess what I'm asking for is if this might sound a little crazy, but if you see anything that looks like it's going in the sanitary sewer through the surface, let Brent know, let someone know. I'm not asking everyone to start scouting around and through the fields, but you never know what you might.
do we have a punitive ordinance in place?
We do, and it's got some meat to it as well. Yeah, we plan on using it, but we're gonna give the businesses first an opportunity to, if they don't have, the proper devices to control whatever effluent that's going into it, so that'd be done, and we need to do that, but when you consider the amount of businesses that we have that could be contributing to this, it doesn't seem to match the amount that's going into the soil. We're looking at just a rough estimate for this year, it'll probably be about $14,000 added to our sewer bill, just because of the BODs. And it was good, I'd like to have that money in the budget right now, or at least part of it. So, it could be coming from somewhere else. We can't say that it's all coming from the few restaurants that we have. It may be another source. So if you see a manhole cover that's ajar, let's.
Oh, like somebody dumping into the,
Could be someone dumping, a tractor could have run over a manhole cover, it could be cocked open a little bit, so some of the groundwater is going in there.
I see.
Just something, anything. Like that.
Is there any professional grade BOD filter that we can put at the end of our line?
Yes and no. Yes, there is, and it would be very expensive as a no.
More than.
It's not a filter, it would be a pre-treatment to go get treated.
More than 14,000?
I never priced them, I don't know.
Can we have Brent price that?
I'd rather have, we could do that, but I'd rather have him proceed where he's going right now. Let's get that going, see what we come up with, might be in for a surprise or not, I don't know. And then, he did indicate to me that he had a plan. He wasn't specific in how, methodically he was gonna go through it to get, to see if we can find the source of this thing going in. We'll just have to wait and let him finish his process. But keep those thoughts coming in.
All right.
How do we, so if we, we give businesses time to sort of get their system together. And if the BOD doesn't go down, then is there a system in which we can be like, okay, like an inspection of some kind?
Yeah,
Like we have the ability to do that?
yeah, well, there's a technology to be able to do that, and what Brent and I talked about, not in great detail, but it's kind of got some conversation going. But just taking a section of the sewer coming from the downstream up and seeing if we can track where it might be coming from. And if it branches, if we get to one manhole where maybe there's an intersection of pipe, and all of a sudden it's not as bad anymore, then we back up again and maybe take the other leg out. It's a weak description of what we're talking about, but I think you might get the idea. It's just a little Sherlock Holmes on it.
Okay.
What do you wanna do about this attorney? The 30 3750 versus 2500. And he wrote 15 hours.
What's the date for it? Is it the last one?
I don't remember.
Is it invoice attached to the check?
Is that because of additional work with living wisdom?
I would assume
Likely.
so.
I imagine like the attendance here in person of those executive sessions that we did at the last meeting.
We've also been working on the
Water, so
water sewer. It just says 15 hours here. Go ahead.
I'm sure he did the work. That's not my complaint with him. My complaint with him is every lawyer has itemized bills. And you never get itemized bills from Seth. The closest you came was when you stopped paying them and he gave a little bit of a breakout. But every lawyer is familiar with it and on a regular basis produces. I did this from this time to this time, and you don't get any of that. So,
Yeah, I mean, that's real.
and at least two of his contractual things, three that I can think of, all have the wrong dates on it.
Three contracts with him or contracts he's working on?
Things that he's done that have wrong dates.
Oh,
I mean, I would pay it and inform him that he can't go over, I guess, 10 hours a month without pre-approval. I know he's been doing a lot, and I know he's making less than what we paid Gene the previous, so.
it'd be great to get them itemized, but yeah, you're right, there's a lot of 15 minutes here, hour there that getting billed for.
So I think we have to put I mean, we reduced his hours greatly from what we used to have. And, he's worked with us on that, and I know we've got some free hours from him along the way. Cause he wants to keep us at a client and sympathetic to our financial situation. My inclination would be to pay this, because we do have things like, you know, him coming in person, dealing with the living wisdom, with that number of issues that are up right now. I think that paying this and saying, you know, anytime that the amount, you know, goes above that, we would like to have an itemized statement. This also not only is it a professional thing to do, but it also lets us know what we're asking of him. And before we start tagging a lot of work on him, we know this is gonna cost us more money. So it's good for both of us, but I would make a motion to pay this bill. And then say in the future, anytime we go above the amount, we would really like to have an itemized bill so that we can track what it is that we are requesting of him.
Let's get itemized whether he goes over it or not.
I would say if it goes over, because we already have sort of defined what he's getting paid for on the monthly bill. And if you feel like you want it itemized all the way along, you could ask that, but I think we have been fairly confident on what we're getting for that retainer.
Okay, let's have the motion on the table to pay this. Any seconds?
I'll second
All in favor? Aye. And then I think we should get itemized monthly reports.
I think so too. I mean, we ask our employees to like
Okay, so
write
could
their
we
stuff down.
ask for that? And then as far as if he's gonna go over the 10 hours, do we want him to stop at 10 hours? and get approval, or?
Well, I wish we could come up with a better system because we've got employees that have stopped work because they've gone over the hours that we've allocated for them, and it just doesn't seem to work.
It'd be nice, I mean, at least to get an update, if he's like. Instead of just getting the bill, if you'd be like, okay, you know, I'm gonna tell Ariel. Every,
I'm in my 10 hours, you could stop asking me for stuff or only ask me for what's critical.
yeah, I mean, at least having the knowledge, like when he reaches 10 hours, if he would tell us that, and then we would, you know, then we could.
Stop calling.
Stop calling him or decide that we need to call him
Mhm.
with more information.
He has, this has been,
I think so.
this has been rare
Mhm.
that we get more hours, you know, that he's done this. So I don't think it's a recurring thing every month where you're
Yeah,
gonna bill some more
first time.
hours. But I think would be good for us to know that, hey, you know, we've reached our max. Any additional work this month is gonna cost you more, and he'll give us a head up. And when we have important legal things that are in the middle of it, like the water and sand agreement, we don't want them to just say, oh, stop, you know, and wait till the next meeting before we approve. It's like, we've given him that leeway in advance to proceed on a thing we have told him was important and a priority for us.
Okay. Didn't you volunteer to be the COG rep?
I did not,
Oh,
I was the alternate, but, I did not volunteer to be
Okay.
the rep. We could talk about it, I'm really hesitant to volunteer to do it because I like work and have lots of things going on, and so it is really hard for me to like I've gotten their emails, you know, they're meeting like in Alamosa and stuff, it's like, it is difficult for me to make those,
Let's wait till next month when the mayor's back,
yeah.
because it used to be the mayor. All right, Public Works report. Is there something?
I don't have them.
All right, Water Department report.
There was one from Brad.
Yeah, looked great. I think that's real comforting to have somebody affordable doing all the work that he's doing. Looks
Mhm.
great, right?
Mhm.
Planning Commission report, nothing. Correspondence, nothing. Motion to adjourn,
So we'll
second,
Second.
all in favor?
All right. Well.
Yay.
Well done, Adam.